Bonser, founder, CEO of British Design Fund, and I'm joined today by Ilan Adler, CEO of Eco-Nomad. Lovely to have you with us, Ilan. How are you?
Hi, very good. Thank you.
So Eco-Nomad, one of our recent deployments, and as our audience will know now, these videos are a kind of casual conversation with the key members of the teams behind each of the businesses that are invested into, and really just to understand, a little bit of, what brought the business together, how you found the idea, the opportunity, who the team are, things like that. So Ilan, do you want to kick off? I mean, maybe to start in sort of simple terms, maybe explain what it is that Eco-Nomad does without disclosing anything confidential, but tell us a little bit about what your technology does, and then maybe how you found the opportunity. Like, what was this? Was there a eureka moment, and why you guys? Like, why were you the ones to sort of spot this?
Yeah, so what we do is small scale biogas systems, meaning units that you can put muck waste from farms or other agricultural products, and they will produce electricity. They will produce a gas that can actually be used, and will actually help curtail greenhouse gases and help with climate change as well. They also produce a very good fertilizer at the other end. So, in a nutshell, this is a technology that's very old, and many of you will be familiar with it. Anaerobic digestion has been around for 60 years, maybe. The whole idea of producing gas from conditions which are anaerobic without oxygen, and then using that gas. But what we do differently is the scale. So we can work in very small scales, which is something new for the British market and largely for the European market, I would say as well. And B is the colder climates. So the way it works is I used to work in Latin America. I traveled to many other parts of the world, and I was involved in several, actually founded an NGO many, many years ago in Mexico. And we used to do these very small scale community biogas projects in rural areas of Mexico. And the idea was, you could make them with locally available materials, very makeshift, if you will, almost DIY. And then, for example, a lady who had a few animals in the backyard just for survival would put all the muck there, get some gas, and use it for cooking. So that seemed pretty straightforward. It's still used in that context. Very simple because the weather tends to be good. So when temperatures are stable, these processes work very well. But when I came to England, I came here to do my PhD almost close to 20 years ago, just by pure chance, if you don't mind me telling a little anecdote, if I have the time.
Yeah, we like that. That's good.
Walking around, doing a very long walk with my son, who was 8 years old at the time, just going to from the Tower of London to Greenwich, and then along the banks of the River Thames, we found this small farm who was doing an apple festival, sort of urban farm. And I popped in and we had a chat, and I just saw, geez, these guys also have animals. They have a pile of muck, a pile of manure, which stinks to high heaven. And I asked them, what do you do with the muck? They're like, well, we sort of give it away, sell it. We don't really know. It's a problem. There's neighbors, there's Canary Wharf is across the river, Canada Water here. It's a lot of urban. And I said, wow, so it means farmers here also have the same problem, very, very similar at that scale. Obviously, big farmers have their own solutions. So I started investigating a bit more, and I just realized, 90% of farmers, at least in the UK and in Europe, it's even more, are smallhold farms. So very small, and they can not usually afford the big biogas plants. So we went ahead and developed a unit that was suitable for this market, for this climate. And we've been in that journey since 2018. We've had lots of funding from the Royal Academy of Engineering, support from UCL, where I'm still still have a foot at UCL, and that's where we came up with our technology, the BioNomad, which now we have several successful deployments, and through several iterations and developing IP, we've come to a product that actually works for this particular context and for that scale. Sorry, it was a bit long.
No, that's great. No, I love the backstories. They're good. So how do you sort of define? How do you define your target market then? What constitutes a small holding? I suppose at what point do they get too large?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we tend to aim for what we call smallhold, for example, in the dairy sector, up to 150 to 200 cows. But again, this is all very arbitrary because it depends so much on how they handle the cows, how much manure they actually collect, how much they don't. But I would say when we start getting to mega farms, 500, well, not even mega, but, large-ish farms, 500, 1,000 cows more. I do honestly believe there are many other solutions in the market for farming, and it doesn't mean we can't do it. We actually do have one project that's already veering on the larger, but it means we start facing a different type of competition because there's an economy of scale involved. So yeah, the classic smallhold farmer, 150 cows, 100 or even less, or equivalent in pigs or other animals, or other even agricultural operations where there's waste involved. We can talk a bit more about that. We're not only working with livestock. Those are kind of our market. They tend to usually be owned by a cooperative or a single family, and they don't usually have the time or the resources to deploy, you know, a huge biogas plant, maybe in the millions.
Yeah, got it. And typically, if you took your sort of, you know, your archetypal client, let's say, 100, if you said 100 to 150 dairy cow farm, like what would be the payback period? Like when would they sort of break even from this investment into EcoNomad technology?
Well, according to our calculations and our early deployments, it would be around 5 years roughly.
Yeah.
And there's a few factors involved, whether there's incentives or not. We will be looking more and more into the carbon credit market as well. But putting all that aside, purely in terms of electricity, heat generated, and fertilizer, there is sometimes a premium on the idea that now waste can be handled better on site. Some farms actually have to pay for, not many, but some do have to pay. We actually were surprised to see a few for waste disposal. So that can be sort of waived with our products as well. And it can help farmers comply with certain standards of emissions, which can also be another moneymaker. But I would say in pure terms of output, around 5 to 7 years, give or take, which is pretty good considering solar PV is actually higher than that.
Yeah, understood. Yeah, great. And then who else is there alongside you, Ilan? Who else is in the EcoNomad team?
Well, I have Alejandra. She's our COO, commercial director. I think you guys have met her already. We have Diego, who's our CTO. He's been many years of experience in small-scale biogas, specifically in this sector, which is quite hard to find. We also have Niranjan, who's an excellent project manager, so he does a lot of the admin. We have a couple of technicians as well. And for the most part, other than that, our core team, we also have people who come and go. So we have a team of installers who we already trained, and they just did an installation for us up north, for example, quite far. So that's a model that we're developing more and more of outsourcing and training our own installers, which don't work for a company, but we can deploy them as needed.
Yeah,
so
keep it sort of keep it lean for as long as you can.
Yeah,
absolutely. And then what's the sort of what's the big objectives for the next sort of 12 months? Then what can we expect to see from EcoNomad?
Well, we're hoping now to deploy, our first commercial, larger commercial sales. So we already have a few early stage, but we're already in conversations with a couple of cooperatives. We're, at a very advanced stage of the conversation. So we hope to have the first deployments of that. And then in parallel to this, we also received an Innovate UK partnership fund, which came with the generous investment of BDF. So what happens then is that we are using that to develop all the digital platform, which is something we are kind of missing. So we do have some data, but it's a bit patchy based on third parties where the security maybe is okay, but we could make it a lot safer. So we will develop our own platform for sensors. We'll develop an app. We will be developing a dashboard where we can collect a lot of data, use that to optimize the system. So almost like a digital twin. So that's happening in parallel. And we're also developing a couple of new products and appliances with other funding. We just got an adopt fund to develop some compression, because a lot of farmers are asking us to compress the gas. I say, okay, I like using the electricity, but I want to put it in a bottle, use it somewhere else. There's a huge demand for that. So we're developing a technology for that over the next year as well, in parallel to this.
Yeah, brilliant. No, it's fascinating and very timely. Energy costs are only going one way at the moment. The traditional
and fertilizer, to be fair, energy and fertilizer are going up the roof. Yeah,
and I suppose by after your process, these farms are left with a valuable resource as well as the energy. Yeah, absolutely. Well, Ilan, look, we are delighted to be working with you. We're excited to be helping you on this part of your journey, and help you build and scale and have a huge impact on the agricultural industry in the UK and beyond. So thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thank you very much. We're also delighted to be with you on this journey. So most appreciated. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Ilan.